Good morning, everybody. This is Lorraine.
And Jennifer?
And this morning, we're going to talk about words.
Yes, because words really matter when it comes to the copy. And, if you're in business, you might be like, well, what does copy mean? Like it's the words that get used on, let's say, an advertisement. It's the words that are used on your website. It's the words on just a post. What you say in those words makes a big difference on getting someone to the next level.
Absolutely. Long before the internet, the advertising guys of Madison Avenue figured this out. And before them, the people who ran ads in all sorts of community newspapers learned that if you use the right words, you could motivate people to buy. And before we get too far, what I really would like to do is encourage you that if you've got some words of wisdom that you want to share, go ahead and share them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. Join us.
Absolutely. So this morning, let's talk a little bit about words. And Jennifer, you got a quick first tip, and then I'm going to share one or two of mine. But what do you think about?
I think we're both on the same stage, so or mindset on what is called emotional copy. I actually have a degree in psychology. And so I very much understand that there is a psychology in why people do things. And so I think when you can write copy that actually gets someone, when they read it, to evoke an emotion, you've got them hooked.
Absolutely. When I was in grad school, and I took a course in consumer behavior, one of my professors had developed this model where he boiled down everything, pretty much everything you could buy, to half a dozen questions. And the way you got to it is you'd ask somebody, well, why do you buy that product? And they give you an answer. Well, why is that important? Why? And with every answer, you just kind of keep asking the whys. Like, you don't let the superficial.
Yeah.
And that particular model was used, I don't know if you remember, way back, I think this was like maybe the 80s, the first Miller light beer commercials, where the argument was taste great, less filling.
Yes.
And where that commercial really came from was there was a whole group of people that really wanted to be able to, they drank beer for camaraderie. That's really what they were buying, was friendship and camaraderie. And so the less filling,
yes,
let them drink more.
Correct.
And then there were people that enjoyed drinking beer, but they were afraid of looking like their fathers with those great big beer guts.
Yeah.
And but for them,
it's tied right to the emotion.
And yes, and so they really kind of tied into those emotions, but they couldn't do it until they did kind of what you were talking about, which is the psychology of why is somebody buying? What's really motivating this?
Yeah. And so I think you and I a lot of times take that emotional, and I think there's other ways to kind of pull in emotional. Like, I think about copy that takes a competitive angle. And that might be what your brand wants to stand for, but you got to kind of think about that when you have somebody writing copy for you. Do you want to be competitive? Do you want to create urgency? Do you want to do objection handling? Like, what tone of voice do you want to kind of take?
And different words really stir up different emotions. And so, as you're writing it, you really need to think about what do you, like you said, what do you want to stir up? And then Is your copy bland? Is it very mechanical? Is it very straightforward? Well, that's great, but I ain't going to get excited. I'm not going to be afraid. And in a
Yeah.
lot of cases, fear is a huge motivator.
Yeah. Yeah. Fear of loss. That's, another ad copy angle or copy angle is what am I missing out on
Mhm.
if I don't do this? And so you take your copy in a direction that if I don't do this product or service, I'm going to feel this.
It's really interesting because I noticed for a while there were a lot of, and there's still one or two SEO companies that do this, that advertise from the perspective of, ooh, SEO is this big scary thing, and you need us to protect you from it.
Yeah.
And oh, that makes me cringe. Oh,
Hmm.
but it's their brand, and there are people that respond to
Really.
that.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to attract that person that is scared versus I think you and I take more of a educational,
Mhm,
I'll teach you everything on how it works.
mhm.
It comes down to you don't want to do it
Mhm.
or you do want to do it yourself.
Yeah, but it comes down to the whole, information is your best defense against anything, and so that's another choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as you're looking at copy, one of the other things that I think people maybe fall into is repetitiveness. And so I really want to encourage you to make the dictionary and maybe thesaurus.com your friend,
Yeah.
and type in the word you think you want to use and then look at all of the other alternatives and read down that list and go, because some of them are going to be like, no, that's really not my intention, or oh, that's a really descriptive word. And it's not a matter of using, what my mother used to refer to as $25 words,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of picking a more creative word that breaks through the clutter because people don't normally see that in
Yeah.
that context.
And so it's going to stand out.
Mhm,
Another thing I think about tip wise is really making sure you understand who your target audience is
mhm,
and how you write that from their perspective, not your perspective as the person who is selling a product or service. You have to put yourself in their shoes, and it's kind of this more conversational type ad copy that is okay. I know what it feels like to be you. I
mhm.
can help you with that.
I'm gonna give you the classic example of completely missing the mark with words. I mean, just and I haven't seen the ad recently, maybe because I don't watch as much television, but, it was clearly a group of sorry, guys, I am gonna hit you on this one. This was clearly a group of men working for, I think it was either Kotex or Tampax, and the
Uh-huh.
tagline was, "Have a happy period." And I have to tell you, no woman
I'm really happy about
ever
that.
ever has said, "Have a happy period."
Oh,
And
boy.
so it was so obvious that the words that they chose were so inappropriate for the market that they were talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. I can recall a radio ad in which they were trying to sell digital marketing, a
Mhm.
radio company, but they led everybody to a Yahoo email. And that was literally in the copy
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh boy,
Mhm.
like you're not really showcasing how advanced you are."
No, no. So because words paint a picture. Words can create feelings of fear. They can create feelings of camaraderie. Again,
Yeah,
and this is really hard, and it's sometimes it's almost laughable when you have people who are not in the same demographic trying to use words
yeah,
that it's not part of my vocabulary.
right.
I know that it's kind of part of yours, but I'm not quite sure how to use it. Um, if you are targeting a demographic that you don't belong to, and that's okay, you can sell products that you don't use. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
but you need to have someone looking at your copy who lives in that world, who
Yeah.
really inhabits that world, who can tell you, no, that's not how we talk, or that
Yeah.
is how we talk.
How do you feel about short form content and long form when it comes to like social media posts?
So I've seen something really interesting, and I think it's probably the last year or so. You actually get more lift on your social media posts if you've got some meat. So one of the things that I've started doing, and a good example is all the episodes for more than a few words.
I've noticed.
The entire synopsis. This is exactly what lives on the webpage with the full episode.
Yeah.
I put a little video snippet or a little just image that catches your attention. And then in the copy, I've got
The full
two,
copy.
3 paragraphs
Yeah.
of description of what that podcast is about. And particularly with the marketing minutes, you don't actually have to listen to it anymore because it's all there. Those posts are doing much better than when I just put a picture and like one sentence listen now. Of course, on Twitter, I still have to do the one sentence listen now.
And I think that's twofold. I think you write really good. You tell stories.
Mhm.
You don't just, give the what. Also, the algorithms like it because it's
Mhm.
keeping people on the social media channels, and so you're going to get more reach from both of those factors. So I think long form content, copy
Mhm.
is a good play on social media. Um,
Absolutely. And we just talked recently about zero-click content, and so that's very much, go back and look. You can find it on the YouTube channel. Look for the zero-click content episode.
yeah, yeah. One more because I know it like bubbles you. Emojis.
Whoa. You know, no, I get it on the place where emojis should be. This is a matter of not really understanding where you are. Emojis are great in a chat because it's a fun way to just quick, you don't have a lot
Yeah,
of time. You see a message come across your phone.
yeah.
Emojis are great in a chat. They are fine when you are responding to someone else. They are not good in the subject line of your email.
I knew you'd have an opinion.
You know what? But we're gonna pause here, and I'm gonna tell you that if you are looking for help, if you want somebody to review your copy and give you some input, particularly from an SEO perspective, but even just from a psychological perspective, you need to be talking to the folks at Elevated Marketing Solutions.
And digitaltoolbox.club has some helpful tips on how to write.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
All right, take care.